Remnants of Isolation is another entry in the 2014 Indie Game Maker contest, and appears to be the work of 3 different people. But do 3 people make for a better game in this case? Or really create a mess of a project? While to save on some of the suspense, Remnants of Isolation is a well-crafted game in many respects, but it does suffer from a few minor issues and one game-ending bug. Albeit, I only found that game-ending bug by doing some backtracking. The plot of Remnants of Isolation revolves around 2 prisoners trying to escape from a castle prison. Their crime is that they can wield magic, and in this world being blessed with such a power is more of a curse, since it's believed that magic users feed on the mana contained within the earth itself, and their continued existence outside of the prison would lead to the death of the planet due to a mana famine. Sadly, the game never fully explores the ethical or moral issues of imprisoning people for a gift beyond their control, or even demonstrating that the magic users are in fact killing the planet simply because they exist. The game also gives itself an easy way out for all of these problems in a way, since the game's heroine naturally produces and releases mana into the environment, offering an easy solution to the mana famine problem and making it just and a noble goal to escape from the prison. On the other hand, the plot of the game focuses more on the relationship between the 2 main characters than on the actual story at large, and that love story is surprisingly well told, considering one of the characters is unable to speak. Remnants of Isolation offers a slight twist on the usual turn-based RPG, by having the characters charge mana by default. This charging ability is then used to cast spells that are either innate or equipped to the character. Though the real fun with the combat system comes from the spell fusion system, that activates if you cast an innate magic skill with one of the characters first, and then follow it up with an equipped spell such as Fire. While the only real downside to the spell fusion system is that the amount of innate abilities in the game is rather small, so the amount of unique spell fusions you can perform is rather limited. Regardless, the spell fusion system is definitely the best aspect of this game. On a more mixed note is the difficulty of the game, if I'm being honest. The game tends to cap your characters so you can only become so strong so fast because the game has 0 random encounters. Instead, it relies on either the enemies or player running into each other in order to start fights, but the amount of fights you can get into before each boss fight will basically keep you on par, if not ahead of the bosses. This is especially true if you use the item destruction system to get rid of the unnecessary passion elixirs and replace them with the far more practical defensive equipment. Or to cut to the chase, I tend to find the battles in this game a bit too easy. As I mentioned previously, this game does contain one game-ending bug. To activate this bug, you need to re-enter the ice caves after you've revisited Celeste's cell to find out that she is the heart of the castle. Once you've re-entered the caves, you'll become helplessly trapped, since the sign you need to read before exiting the area is now deactivated. Visually speaking, the game is well crafted for the most part, but a few trouble spots exist where the game feels a bit overcrowded with unnecessary objects. While the game still gives you enough room to maneuver around them, it does raise my eyebrow and add another small flaw to the game. Another small mistake contained within the game is that if the heroine activates her musical keys ability after you've rescued Melikor, his hair will temporarily return to its green color until the song ends. While Remnants of Isolation may not contain the most diverse of musical tracks considering its short playtime of around an hour, it does contain some pieces that are strikingly beautiful. Remnants of Isolation isn't a perfect game by any stretch of the imagination, but it's definitely a well-crafted game that is worth playing if you're a fan of RPG Maker games.